I wanted to speak to you today about confusion because today I'm feeling more than confused. Ever since I started talking about politics on this channel, my message has been one of peace, harmony, unity, everyone coming together, abiding by British law and order, believing in all things that are right, all the things that we were brought up to believe in, common decency, respect for one another, and all those good things. That's always been my message. I think everyone knows that. But here's why I'm confused. Here's why I'm angry, I'm confused, I'm concerned. And here's one of the reasons why I ended up leaving the UK, the place that I love, the place that I call home. I go back to Lucy Connolly and poor Peter Lynch, God rest his soul. Both individuals jailed, sent to jail for hurty words and a tweet, neither of which were pleasant particularly. I don't think that, I've never seen anything that poor Peter Lynch said that could have been even remotely deemed as being illegal, unless I missed something. Lucy Connolly's tweet was distasteful. It's not something that I would have written personally, but then thank God I haven't been through what poor Lucy's been through in her lifetime, with the death of a child and the grief that would unquestionably follow that. And yet, over the weekend, whilst Lucy rots in jail and poor Peter is no longer with us and must never be forgotten, by the way, individuals on stage being covered by our national broadcaster, the BBC, the biased British Broadcasting Corporation, who I am absolutely and utterly ashamed of, allowed individuals at the Glastonbury Music Festival to call for the murder of Jewish people and the murder of MPs. Can you believe that? Can you believe what we heard? Can you believe that these people were allowed on stage, knowing full well their political views and what they were likely to come out with? Both of these bands, both of these individuals have, apparently, I've never heard of either of them myself, but both of them apparently have long track records of anti-British, anti-Semitic behaviour. Now look, I'm a great advocate of free speech. If someone wants to support the Palestinian cause, that is their right. If someone wants to publicly stand on stage during a concert and say something that they believe in politically, whilst I might not agree with their politics, I support their right to say it, even if I don't agree with it. What I don't agree with is the call to murder other people in public by people who are clearly far bigger influences in life, especially with the vulnerable and the easily influenced younger generation. Most of the people that I speak to are older. They've been through their crazy period in life and they've settled down a bit and they're mostly level-headed. But nonetheless, regular viewers to my channel will understand and appreciate that I'm always very careful and very respectful and very mindful about what I say, who I talk about, and the manner in which I address issues, because I am aware that with being a so-called influencer, if that's what you want to call it, the proof is in the title. You can have an influence on people. No one can tell me, no one on earth could convince me that what was said over the weekend on air, on the BBC, covered by the BBC, in front of thousands of people at Glastonbury Music Festival, impressionable youngsters, many of them. No one can tell me that those hate-filled inciting words were less damaging, less harmful than anything that Lucy Connolly said, or indeed that poor Peter Lynch said, or that many other people said who ended up behind bars after the disturbances up and down the country in the summer of 2024. At the moment, we're hearing that no charges are going to be brought. That, unfortunately, will only feed into the belief that we have a two-tier policing system, that we have a two-tier government, we have a two-tier judicial system, and we certainly have a two-tier national broadcasting corporation, who, in my belief, has been infiltrated, heavily infiltrated, by political activists with an axe to grind, mostly anti-Semitic people who hate the Jews and who hate Israel. There's nothing wrong with being a political opponent of the Israeli government. They're not perfect. No government is perfect. And I fully understand that many people will have a very valid reason to disagree with things that Israel do, their Prime Minister, their government, their armed services. That is their prerogative, that is their right to have their views, just the same as it's everyone else's right to oppose their views. That's what living in a free society is all about. But you agree to disagree peacefully and with respect. I'll leave you with this thought. In September, the United Kingdom will hold the biggest rally, patriotic rally, ever to be seen in this country. Hundreds of thousands of people will gather in central London to celebrate their Britishness and to support the people behind that particular movement. I wonder what would happen, what will be the reaction of the police, of the government, of the media, of the BBC, of the judicial system, if certain well-known members of the patriotic community stood on stage and called for the murder of other individuals. We don't need to know the answer to that. We already know the answer to what would happen, how that will be treated, and how it will be handled, and how quickly and swiftly it will be dealt with, and rightly so. The difference between the two groups is that I can tell you for sure right now, and look you straight in the eye when I say this, that no one will stand on stage in September and call for violence. They will not be calling for riots. They will not be calling for the death or the murder of anyone, because that is not what that organisation is all about. And if someone did slip through the net and start saying things on stage that were completely and utterly vile, unacceptable and illegal, immoral, all of those words, they will be removed. I am confident in saying that they will be instantly dealt with, swiftly dealt with and removed by the United Kingdom's own security team. The BBC really over the weekend unveiled themselves to the entire nation for what they really are and what they've become. They do not represent the British people. Anyone now that works for the BBC should be taking a long, hard look in the mirror and think about the organisation that they are representing and how they are viewed by the public. Because, look, if you sleep with dogs, you wake up with fleas. The BBC is tarnished. The BBC is finished. The reputation of the BBC across the world has shattered to pieces. It's over for the BBC, and they now hold the British public to ransom for their licence fee. Very few people, if any, want to pay the licence fee. Very few people support the BBC. Most people detest everything that the BBC stands for. The BBC are finished, they're done, they're dusted, they are so over. It's unbelievable. And they did it all by themselves without the help of anyone else.